You know, we all think of ancient epics like the Ramayana and Mahabharata as these incredible stories of gods, heroes, and massive battles. But what if they're more than that? What if, hidden inside these ancient verses, there's a practical blueprint for how to live a sustainable, harmonious life? Okay, let's dive into this. It's a really fascinating way to look at a very old piece of wisdom. Our story starts with this powerful Sanskrit verse. It's known as the Pancha Kanya Sloka. For centuries, people have chanted it, honoring 5 really important female figures from these epics. And it's usually presented as this prayer, for purity, for washing away your sins. So here's the translation you'll almost always see. It's a call to remember these 5 women, Ahalya, Draupadi, Sita, Tara, and Mandodari, because they are destroyers of sin. Now, traditionally, that's been interpreted through a pretty specific lens, one of fidelity, virtue, and, let's be honest, patriarchal honor. But the idea we're exploring today asks us to look way, way deeper than that. And here it is. This is the big question. What if we've been missing the point all this time? What if this verse isn't just a moral guide? What if it's actually an ecological and a psychological one? A kind of blueprint for how to live in balance with the earth and with ourselves. All right, to unpack this, we've got to start with the Ramayana. The argument here is that the Ramayana isn't just about a prince rescuing his wife. It's fundamentally a story about building a righteous and, this is the key, a sustainable civilization. It's all about our relationship with the land. So let's start with Sita. Her name literally means furrow. You know, the line a plow cuts into the soil. She wasn't born in a palace. She was discovered in a field by a king who was plowing. Her entire origin story screams agriculture. She isn't just a queen. She is the sacred act of farming. She is the fertile earth itself. She's the foundation of civilization. Okay, so if Sita is fertile land, what about Ahalya? Well, her name means unplowed or barren. That's a pretty stark contrast to Sita, right? In the usual telling of the story, she's cursed and turned to stone for supposed infidelity. But what if there's another way to read this? This is where it gets really cool. Forget the moral drama for a second and think about this ecologically. Ahalya isn't a person. She's the barren land itself. Lord Rama's touch, which is like a divine plow, doesn't judge her. It revitalizes her. It brings her back to life. It's this beautiful metaphor for transforming a wasteland into fertile ground, which is a central idea in sustainability. And it doesn't stop there. The other women from the Ramayana in this verse, they fit right into this eco-framework. You have Tara, which means star. She represents the celestial wisdom you need for farming, looking at the stars to figure out when to plant, when to harvest. And then there's Mandodari, whose name means soft-bellied. She's the symbol of that rich, nourishing soil. Her story even says she was born from a frog, which is a classic, ancient sign that the rains are coming, absolutely essential for a good harvest. So when you put all of them together, look what you get. These 4 figures from the Ramayana, they're not just characters in a story. They are archetypes for a totally sustainable ecosystem. You've got the fertile earth, the barren land that you make fertile, the celestial guide for timing, and the nourishing soil itself. It's a complete guide to living with the land. Okay, so that's the Ramayana, the external world, the earth. Now we're going to shift gears completely. We're going from the world outside to the world inside our own bodies and minds. And for that, we turn to the Mahabharata and the 5th and final Kanya, Draupadi. According to this interpretation, the Mahabharata isn't really a story about a massive family war over a kingdom. It's an allegory for the battle that's happening inside our own consciousness all the time. The characters aren't just people out there. They're different parts of you. Think about it like this. The 5 Pandava brothers, they're your 5 senses. And who is married to all 5 of them? Draupadi. She represents the mind, the thing that experiences everything your senses bring in. The oldest brother, Yudhishthira, he's the intellect, always trying to guide the mind. And then, watching it all happen, totally detached, is Lord Krishna. He's the witness soul, the Atman. That famous terrible scene where Draupadi is humiliated in public, it's a metaphor for the mind being completely tormented by uncontrolled desires. So, how do these 2 giant ideas connect? We've got the Ramayana as this code for the earth, and the Mahabharata as a map of our inner self. Well, this is where the true hidden power of that Pancha Kanya verse is finally revealed. Here it is, the unified theory. The Ramayana gives us the blueprint for how to nourish the physical world, the earth. The Mahabharata shows us that this physical nourishment, the food we grow from the earth, is exactly what sustains our entire inner world, our senses, our mind, our intellect. So the Dharma, our sacred duty, is to cultivate the earth to feed the body, which in turn frees the mind. It's a complete circle. And when you see it that way, the entire verse changes. Chanting the names of the Pancha Kanya isn't about judging women or celebrating their chastity. It's a daily reminder to honor the fundamental principles of a flourishing, sustainable life, from the soil under our feet to the soul inside our bodies. And that really just leaves us with one last, pretty big thought. If a single, ancient verse that we thought we understood can be decoded to reveal this incredibly profound guide to sustainable living, it just makes you wonder, right? What other timeless wisdom, hidden in plain sight in our oldest stories, have we completely overlooked?